everybody? This is your boy Kites, the founder of 2G1A, and I'm here with the 2G1A crew, 2G1A Tommy,
What's up? How y'all feeling?
West,
What's good, y'all?
and Nico.
Hi.
All right, so basically, 2G1A presents Life Lessons and Blessings, LLB for short. Basically, this podcast is going to talk about everything but politics and religion, even though we do have like Christianity based in our organization. So, stick around for the ride. Drop a like, a subscription, a follow or whatever, depending on the platform, whatever it allows. Do that. Show some love.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, so episode 1. Let's get it started. The gaming industry, right? The gaming industry currently, right now, in my opinion, and everybody's opinion can be different, right? I personally feel like the gaming industry has died to a certain point, right? And so that's what my first part I'm gonna throw out is, how do you feel about the current state of the gaming industry? So anybody can jump on that first.
Go ahead, Nico.
For the last few years, I've seen a lot of gravitation towards the new battle royale aspect of things, and I think it kind of took a monopoly with, the gaming industry, and it's just made it kind of very plain.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of agree. Battle royales, like I understand like the hype about them, but I feel like battle royales have been turned into like an excuse for game industries and stuff like that to, do quick cash grabs or like quick trends. You feel me? I don't feel like when somebody makes a battle royale type of game, I feel like they're not thinking about like whether or not people are gonna really enjoy it. They just know it's gonna be something that everybody's gonna flock to because it's just convenient. You feel me? Like, I don't know. I can't stand battle royales, to be honest.
I mean, the thing about battle royales and why I think that they're good in theory, but they suck, is because it gives people the option to do new things, like create new concepts, but not fully flesh them out to the point where it would be an entirely different game. Let's say anything like regards of okay, I have this cool concept where you start off in a dungeon, you come out in a world, and your goal is to pick up items, to fight enemies around the map, and just explore and whatnot. Okay, well, I don't want to make a full game based around that because I'd be making like a Dark Souls or something like that.
Yeah.
So how about I just make it a battle royale? Let's just drop you out of a plane or drop you off the back of a dragon, and you just fight enemies around the map, pick up gear. You can fight bosses around the map, but you can also fight other players, and whoever's left in the end is the winner. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And then let's slap a cash shop, let's slap a battle pass, and boom, there you go.
Some emotes and dance trends. Yeah.
Yep, new battle royale at your service. And it's just like, it gave the ability for these developers to cop out and not have to make full-blown games if they're behind a battle royale formula. Yeah. Which, I mean, it sucks, but that's where we're at now. And I don't think the battle royale trend will die anytime soon, but I do believe that it will come to a sheer halt eventually when like all of these other battle royales that are coming out randomly just like start to flop instantly. Like I would prefer Fortnite and Apex and PUBG were the only battle royales. Like, I'm tired of seeing new interesting games.
Yeah.
From like trailers, and then at the end they're jumping out of a plane or something like that. Like, I thought Super People was cold. Like, I thought that Super People was like just a game where you got superpowers. I thought it was just a PvP game. Like, I just thought it was a third-person shooter and lobbies and stuff like that. It's a battle royale.
Wait, they turned that into a battle royale. So it was
Super People is a battle royale.
I remember when they first showed it, right? Like, my homie got into the beta of that, but they had like a whole bunch of like other modes for that. But I thought that the beta part was just gonna be, the battle royale aspect. But that sucks. Okay, well, what about you, Tommy? How you feel?
How do I feel about this battle royale? It's simple, at least for me. If I were to add Kurt Spell and Shinobi Striker to put as an example, They seem to put battle royale in the games that are failing.
Right.
So when a game doesn't get as much as buzz as people think it was, they'll just swoop in and put a battle royale and think people will flock to it. Which I guess it adds new spice to the game, but at the same time, at the end of the day, it's gonna be a battle royale. You only have one objective, and if it really doesn't pop off, then there's really no point. So
Yeah.
that's really my piece. I don't like battle royales in general. So
I think I don't.
There
You
that
know, but truthfully, I feel like the only people who like really enjoy battle royales are people who they want to just get in and get out type of thing. Like they want to play a game or two and then like leave immediately. Like you have like an hour to play, you can play about like 3 or 4 battle royales. But I feel like there's not like a lot of love for people who want to like really invest into a game, because I feel like when you do battle royales, right? Yeah, you're gonna have that initial fun, like, wow, this is interesting. You know, this is cool. I want to try out this weapon and all this. But a lot of battle royales, like you don't get to really utilize everything that the game is putting out there, because you're gonna end up realizing that there's a meta for that battle royale, and you're gonna be like, oh, this weapon does the most damage for this, and it's always best to spawn at this spot. And you know, like if you try to learn like all the little gimmicks and stuff like that. And that's why I feel like a lot of developers, they take that mindset and they take that meta that is gonna come with the battle royales, and they can make a trillion battle royales out of that same meta. Like, oh, this weapon is the same as this weapon in another game, so let's throw it in here and just put it in a different spot, and people are gonna think like, oh, it's brand new and fresh. Because even when I did try Super People, it reminded me of like PUBG with some of the weapons. Like the snipers were just one-shotting everybody, but I did like the superpower effect. But then I was like, I felt like a lot of the superpowers you experienced in the game have been in other games, you know, like super speed, slowing down time, stuff like that. And it's just like, oh, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there have been battle royales that I played that I found very entertaining. I should say entertaining in the fact that like the idea that it presented was entertaining to me, even though I was not actively playing it or interested in trying it out. Like, remember that battle royale game, like the Wizard one? I forgot what it was called. If any of y'all remember.
Kurtzpell.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Kurtzpell. Kurtzpell is the anime, weapon based like game that also added a battle royale. It was a wizard battle royale where you would pick up 2 gauntlets and there would be different elements, and you know it was a 3-stack.
Oh,
I think
was it
Spellbound?
Spellbound,
yeah.
Spellbound.
Yeah, Spellbound.
Yeah, Spellbound. I played it a bit. I didn't really enjoy it, but I liked what it did because that was unique. There's no wizard-based battle royales, or even real like good battle royales that like heavily rely on like the powers of the world or whatever. Like Super People is cool, but like at the end of the day, it's not really about the powers that you have. It's about your gun skill and can you aim, right? And that's most of these battle royales. Naraka is a great one. Naraka is hand-to-hand combat, and you have powers, but the main focus of the game is hand-to-hand combat, running with your squad, knowing when to parry, stuff like that. Like, it's more so skill-based than it is I guess every battle royale is skill-based to a certain extent, but there's more factors in that skill-based in Naraka than there is other games, in my opinion.
I think Naraka came out the same time. It came out the same time as that other battle royale. It was like something Heroes or something. It's like a Chinese battle royale, and it's
Arena.
like, Heroes Arena. Yeah, I like that one, but I felt like nobody, because Naraka came out at the same time, that one got ignored. But I liked it because it felt kind of fresh. Especially with the fact that like you're fighting the mobs like majority of the time, and you just so happen to run into a player or something like that.
Is that the one that was on console?
Yeah, it's on PlayStation. Yeah,
you're right. It got overshadowed by Naraka, and it's like tough.
Yeah. And that was it. I think the only thing that made me like interested in that was the fact that it was still a battle royale, but there was so much other stuff going on. Like you're fighting a world boss. You have like a shadow zone that appears, and everybody teams up to fight in the shadow world. You got these ghost assassin characters that can randomly spawn at any point. You got to duel them. So it's like it just made it interesting because like no experience in that battle royale was the same because random stuff was always happening. But now I think that's the same thing with like Fortnite, right? Because Fortnite has like, concerts and crap going on in the middle of their stuff, right?
Yeah, despite how anybody feels about Fortnite, I think it is genuinely the best battle royale on the market. Yeah. The skins, the licenses, the emotes, the events, all the stuff that Fortnite has to offer. Truly, I think no cap. I think that if I was good at building in Fortnite, like I was good at Fortnite when it first came out, when all you had to do was build like a ramp and a wall around you to protect your back and stuff like that. It was cool. But when it turned into somebody shot me and they missed, I'm about to build a whole mansion around myself to protect myself. I'm like, I'm good, bro. I don't want nothing to do with that.
You misses you shoot a dude one time and he built a whole neighborhood in front of you, and it's just like, all right, man.
It's like, all right, well, I don't want no smoke with you, bro. So yeah, it lost me at that point, but I still genuinely think it is the best battle royale on the market. And when they do their esports tournaments and any money-oriented event for Fortnite, they put out for their community. Like Booga, that dude, he was a kid and he was just really good at Fortnite, and he won like the world championships or whatever, and he got hella bread, and now he's on the map, and that's what's up. Jump started his career and everything. And you can't say the same thing about like the fighting game industry and them shelling out for their tournaments and their people. SNK does it to a certain extent, but if any of y'all saw like I think it was a few days ago, Capcom put out like a new TOS or something like that about like running events with their games and stuff like that. It was just real, like it was tough stuff, to be honest. It was really anti like, don't play our video game at a tournament because we don't care for you and we don't respect that you enjoy our game. I could go into the specifics, and that could be like a different podcast entirely, but yeah, like a lot of these developers now, I'll get us out of the battle royale and I'll put us into like a new
before you do that, I wanted to ask before you do that. I want to ask because Nico actually streams battle royales and stuff like that. So I wanted to ask, like, what is keeping you playing battle royales? You feel me? Like, especially when there's like so many other games and stuff, like other genres and stuff currently out. Like, what's keeping you in, Apex and stuff like that?
So originally for me, when I had started, like when I had transitioned from Overwatch to Apex, I am a super competitive player. And the only reason that I stuck with Apex is because I like the nice new fresh every game, like a refresh over and over again. Right. My problem with battle royales like Apex and Fortnite and whatever, in terms of like mechanics wise, it gets very stale unless they bring a gun. They just released, what was it, the Rampage? Like most guns that are just basically the meta are usually just fast SMGs. That's literally it. It's been the same since like season 6. So for me personally, it's kind of a game that I go to when I'm just like, all right, I don't want to draw, I don't want to do anything. But then it gets me back to the point of I guess in terms of the market with them letting out skins and whatever, it's always been a problem. Because personally, I don't like battle passes. That is my biggest.
Yeah.
that is my biggest thing. Ever since like the first battle pass came out, whatever, and all that jazz with Fortnite and Apex and everything, every game has adapted that, and it's very predatory, and I hate it. Personally, I hate it.
Even the free ones that I think For Honor made a free version of a battle pass, but like when you look at like the free version of it compared to like the version you have to pay, you're like, I want the cool stuff is in the paid for version. The free one ain't got crap in it, you know. So you
Exactly.
just it's a mindset.
Yeah, my problem with that really is I grew up like with League and whatnot, and so I was used to being able to just buy the skin. You know what I mean? Like just be able to have one purchase and not have to wait for this skin to show up randomly next year on an anniversary of the game. Like it just doesn't make sense, and that's what happened with like Overwatch. They would like recycle events. And over again, I'm tired of Winter Express. I'm very tired. I'm very tired
guess
of
what? Overwatch 2,
Halloween
it's coming back.
Exactly. It's just like find something new without having to rehash it every single year. Like it gets boring. It gets boring very quickly, and then you throw money on top of it with the battle pass. It gets stale. It gets boring very quickly.
Yeah, I mean,
because it doesn't incentivize their players.
I was gonna say that's when you have to look into like some of the monetization models of these games, and like this is specifically BRs in general. Like, you know, they have to make their bread from the battle pass and skins and things like that, because like that is the death of what they can offer, because they've like shoehorned themselves into this avenue, and like this is what they're stuck doing, and it blows. But at the same time, it's really not much you can do about it, because you are a battle royale player, and because you signed on to that lifestyle, this is like essentially the L that you have to hold in that regard. So as much as it does blow, it's like with any new BR, you know, the same thing will happen. The battle passes, the skins, the events, the monetization, and you know, depending on the company, it could be good, it could be trash.
Right.
So you just gotta keep your head high in some regard, essentially. But yeah.
What were you gonna you said you wanted to segue into?
Okay.
Well, actually before we do that, let me ask Tommy, like, you got anything else you want to add to that, my boy? Or did everyone
other than the fact that I just don't like battle royales, I have nothing to add.
Mm-hmm. No,
I wish I could. I mean, honestly, I wish I could, because I really did enjoy Naraka, but it's just my idea for battle royale. It just doesn't fit what I wanted to play. So
I feel like your perfect battle royale is probably gonna be that new one that they're creating. It's like you're like it's like really cartoony, but the whole point is like you're.
Oh, you're talking about Rumbleverse? Yeah, I want to.
Yeah, yeah. It's just it's nothing but hand to hand combat. Like the whole thing.
I mean, it's wrestling, bro. Like you grab a dude and you suplex him off a skyscraper. I'm for that. I like that. It'll be a luchador. You know, and it's by the same people who do Fortnite. So, you know, at the very least, at a base level, you can, you know, I think the word is ascertain that the game will stay alive for, you know, at least a minute, right? Because it's by the same people who do Fortnite. They have their monetization model down. They know how to monetize their game, and they know how to keep their game, you know, afloat. So it's like, okay, if I want to commit to Rumbleverse as a battle royale that I play, I don't have to worry about it, you know, waking up one day, like, you know, 6 months from now, and they're like, oh, we're shutting the servers down, bro. I'm sorry. I ain't got to worry about that with at least that BR, because you know who's behind it. The same thing can't be said about all these other games. And that's why I wanted to segue into like a lot of the gaming industry. The reason why it is bad in its current state is because nowadays a lot of these gaming developers are anti-consumer, whether they want to be or not, because of the simple fact that we, you know, one day, you know, we decided it was okay to let companies into video games, like these companies who only care about money into video games, because now it's not about making a quality product for the consumer. It's about making a quality product for the consumer, and one that nets enough money for your shareholders and your investors to see a return. If it doesn't see a return to them, it's a failed product, no matter how good it does in the community as a whole. And that's why a lot of these games now come out in unfinished states and come out way earlier than projected because these shareholders, they want their bread now. The same thing the easiest example I could use is what's that game that came out? It was like a Genshin clone that came out in China only.
Our fantasy.
Yeah, Tower of Fantasy. I followed this dude. I forgot his name on YouTube, but he's a mobile game guy or whatever, and he was talking about Tower Fantasy because like he genuinely wanted to be interested in the game, and the game had a neat concept, you know, even though it was a Genshin like game, but it was an MMO. The reason why Genshin blows, and I don't know why anybody still plays that game, coming from somebody who spent like upwards of $3,000 in that game. I was welling in that game.
You was addicted, bro.
Yeah,
man.
It wasn't even so much as addiction. Truly, it was just like I want these characters so I can enjoy my game experience, and that was before I knew about the account buying and selling market for a lot of these gacha games or just games in general. Like the amount of money that I spent for like Genshin and not even getting everything I want, I could have spent that on an account now that has every character, you know, C6 and every weapon R5 type deal, you know. But you live and you learn. It was a pandemic, early in the pandemic. I had a lot of bread. Shout out to the STEMI. You know, you feel me? So it is what it is. I was going crazy and I was having a good time, but like, you know, I don't know why people still play Genshin, because at the end of the day, no matter how pretty it looks, no matter the fact that it's on PC and the console, it is a mobile game. You are capped by stamina, and you can't even enjoy the characters you want to the fullest without getting multiple copies of them. On average, for you to get a C6 character in that game, the minimum average is $1,200. That's the minimum average for you to get. You have to get a character once, and you have to get 7 copies of them. One time to get the actual character, and then 6 more times to get unlock the constellations.
You know you know what the crazy part is? Like, by you even saying it's a mobile game, that definitely like parallels with the corporation statement as well, and it's actually sad that it does, because I feel like gaming, like besides Battle Royales being a major hit that killed a lot of like the creativity of gaming, I feel like when mobile gaming really took off and mobile gaming became the wave back in like 2012 and all that crap, and it was like Clash of Clans and Flappy Bird like doing like crazy numbers, that opened the doorway for like all these like corporations like, hey man, we can make a cheap knockoff app, because we all know how to make cell phone apps. And you know, it turned into like I feel like it just like steamrolled into the gaming industry, that we could take like all the predatory tactics that phone games and stuff have and completely just throw them in regular video games. I was looking on PlayStation, right? And PlayStation has like little free games that you can try, and it was like WWE 2019, right? And I was like, I haven't played a WWE game in like almost like 15, 16 years, you know? Like the last one I played was like SmackDown versus Raw 2006, and I remember like the game would come with like a full roster of people and clothes and stuff like that, and everything was unlocked already. You just had to like, you know, play the game and unlock stuff as you played it. And I looked on when I opened up like the new like 2019, to unlock a move, you have to go through a gacha pack. Like you have to buy, you have to buy like it's in-game currency, but then there's also the option
you
to
can
put
spend
money
real
into.
money. Yeah. Or for
And
that
so,
in-game
like,
currency to roll them packs.
Yeah, I'm a big Rey Mysterio fan, right? Like, I love the 619 is the staple. You feel me? Like, that is like my favorite move of all time. I don't care how people feel about it. To know I couldn't put the 619 as my character's special move, even though Rey Mysterio is in the game doing the 619, because I had to get a legendary gacha pack and pray to God
at that.
Yeah, and then it's not like the packs, like you had to buy specific packs, like the move pack, and you buy the move pack, and I was getting the same move over and over, And it was just like, oh, well, you got a duplicate, so here's an extra coin. Why don't you try, rolling another pack? And it's just like, dude, at this point, I spent like an hour rolling packs just to not get the move I wanted. I was like, dude, this just took all the fun out of the game, Like, what happened to games like, hey, I play the game, I beat a guy, I unlock his moves and all that stuff, and then move on to the next guy until I can be satisfied with what I got. Why do I have to gamble to get something that's already in the game? Like, I paid $60 for this, Well, I got it for free, but you feel me?
Yeah, it's just like 2K and that my GM stuff. You have to roll for these packs to get these. It's the best example because 2K it drains so much money from people who are into that point. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm going to buy 2K. Like, I don't play 2K anymore because 2K now is garbage. The last good 2K was 16. You can say even 17 was the last decent one before we just truly fell off track. But it's the same thing for 2K and Madden. Y'all, people be buying currency to roll these packs to get these versions young AIs, a super diamond, purple, green, rainbow color. I gotta roll for that, man, to get these packs. I mean, it's the gacha. That's the thing when people are like, bro, I don't know, you play a gacha game and you are like, how you playing Genshin, blah 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 blah. You rolling for digital girls, bro. That's crazy.
You doing the same thing on your basketball game. You're doing the same thing.
Young AI or young Kobe with the 8 or Kobe with 24. Don't tell me what I'm rolling for, bro. We doing the same thing. You just doing it for dudes, bro. Like you getting digital men. I'm getting digital girls, bro. So that's something to unpack right there. Like, do we need to go deeper than that, bro? I'm trying to come for me, bro. I'm minding my business.
It's it's so funny because if you look at how 2K gamers react to people who play Genshin, both communities drag each other. Like the Genshin and anime and gacha game communities, they're like, oh, you buy the same basketball game over and over and over and over. And then the 2K community is like, you guys are playing the same anime game with the same anime characters, the same anime moves over and over and over, and you're paying for it. It's like, but y'all don't realize y'all both in the same genjutsu type junk. Y'all both playing the same thing.
Yeah, everybody's getting stabbed by the corporation that they're supporting, bro. Just instead of Itachi's head, just plaster 2K over his head or plaster MiHoYo over the head, and it's the same thing. You getting cooked, bruh. You're in a loop, and I'm so glad I'm out of that loop. I still play Epic 7, but Epic 7 is a gacha game that doesn't treat the people who invest in it like trash. They listen to their community, better than most people, I will say, because they've had some issues in the past. But I'm getting to the point now where it's I don't even want to sign on to Epic 7 because I'm kind of feeling good about this year in regards to the games that are coming out. I've been playing Elden Ring, even though Elden Ring is not a 10 out of 10, like every article in the world said, because the PC optimization is garbage. Whether or not you're experiencing those issues or not, a game can't be perfect unless it comes out in a perfect state. A game can't be a 10 out of 10 when it has optimization, because 10 out of 10 implies that there's nothing wrong with the game. It is perfect in its entirety. When it was released, it was released in a state where nothing was wrong with it. That is not the case for Elden Ring, right. And that is not the case for any game that comes out. Games come out in better states than most, but minus the frame issues in Elden Ring, I think it's a spectacular game. Y'all saw me. I've been streaming it. I've been playing it. I've been getting cooked. I've been getting work. This is my first actual Souls game. I played Neo 1, Neo 2. I played Sekiro and stuff, so I understand the difficulty. I don't really get behind the whole it should be an easy difficulty in this game. That's not what the game is for. This game literally thrives off the fact that there is no difficulty in the game. As you progress and as you scale in the world, you will fight harder enemies, and it's the same thing. No matter how, air quotes, how hard it is, every boss is fundamentally the same. They have a pattern. You memorize that pattern, and then you beat that boss. Right. So if you think it's hard, then tough stuff, bro. I can't help you. So that argument is just a lame one to me, but it's an opinion nonetheless. So I can't ignore that opinion exists. But what I was gonna say is that like I feel good about the games this year. Like I got Elden Ring. Lost Ark is a great game, even though I don't really feel like grinding it right now because at the end of the day, it's still an MMO. You know, Babylon's Fall is gonna be coming out in 4 hours. Me and Tom B are gonna play that. Kite would play that, but he's gonna have to go to sleep because he got to go to work.
Yeah.
But after Babylon's Fall, we got Tiny Tina, Wonderland. Then we got Stranger Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin.
But here's the thing: you gotta
Steam Deck coming out later this month as well.
Here's the thing you gotta also think about though. All these games that are coming out, are they gonna come out complete, or are they gonna come out with here's 60% of the game you bought, let's get some day one patches to give you the rest. You feel me?
I would prefer a game to come out in an incomplete state than for it to be advertised as like a once in a lifetime product that everybody should experience, and then I get my hands on it and then run like dog water.
What were you gonna say, Tommy?
I feel like at this point, because we've been in the drought for so long, it probably wouldn't matter if the game's complete or not. But I mean, because if you look at it, it's been the same. It's been the same format for how long?
Since 2017, dog.
Yeah,
it's deeper. It's worse than that because
it's worse than that, but like I graduated in 2016, and that's the last year I remember like games truly just like being good.
I think
because back then
we ran into this issue. I think when it's the era of like it's the Overwatch era when we started getting games that had like it wasn't actually it's deeper than that. It's the Call of Duty era when we started getting into map packs and DLCs and stuff like that. Because now we got into that was an excuse for they dropped the game and they go, oh yeah, this is $60 worth of game, but then you realize like, nah, this is probably about $30 worth of game. But if you buy this season pass for $60, well, you'll get $60 worth of content that we probably already coded in the game, but we'll just unlock it every 3 to 4 months, and so you can enjoy it, type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, what's crazy about that is the fact that like back in the day, like even though they did start doing that business model, stuff still felt complete. Like Black Ops 2 at base felt like a complete game. MW3 at base felt like a complete game. Even Black Ops 3 at base felt like a complete game. It was just like most of the Call of Duties felt like complete games, which is crazy to me because even if I don't like a Call of Duty, I will never boot up a Call of Duty and there's like, man, there ain't nothing to do until I got to Cold War. Because when Cold War came out, I swear to God, it was not that much to do, bro. And I was getting the same maps, playing with my stack, and I just felt like, man, this is garbage. Battlefield 2042, garbage. It's fun with the squad, but overall, from a viewer or from a consumer standpoint, like if you're not playing with no friends or nothing, that game is bad. It's a lot of games that are bad. And before like I really go off on a tangent, I'm gonna let anybody else say their piece or just like speak on it because like it's a few games I was already thinking about before we got into the podcast. It just like truly let me down. Like my saying is high hopes, low expectations. Right. I got the highest hope in the world, but my expectations are in hell, bruh. Because
basically,
that's how you have to go into not just life in general with some situations, but this gaming industry now, bruh. Like you can't have your expectations up there because then you just gonna get crushed. The beginning of like my descent into like really wearing that high hopes, low expectations stuff on my sleeve was Shinobi Strikers, bruh. Because the moment that I booted up Dragon Ball Xenoverse on my Xbox One, I'll never forget it. My mom bought me that game, and I played the hell out of that game. I did not have no friends to play that with. I was playing that by myself. And I booted up. I did my thing. I got my powers. I got my Super Saiyan, my black character. I'm like, man, I'm a black Super Saiyan. This is lit. And then I was like, this is cool, but you want to know what would be a trillion times better than this? A Naruto game, a Naruto Xenoverse, bruh.
Yep.
And then one day I look up and they're making a Naruto Xenoverse, expectations through the roof,
You
buy that
got
game on
let
my
down.
PlayStation 4 Pro.
You got
Bro,
let
it was
down.
so bad. If you might not know it because you might not have experienced it, but there was a bug on the PlayStation version of the game that if
Right.
you played the beta and then you bought the game like an actual disc or just downloaded the game or whatever, like you would boot the game up and it would register your purchase copy of the game as a demo. So I bought the game. I put the disc in my PlayStation 4, and I swear to God, I booted it up. It said I had a Shinobi Strikers demo, and I couldn't believe it, bro. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what is happening? I go on Reddit, people talking about, oh yeah, you know, for some reason the game registers as the demo even if you purchase the game. And I was just like, man, this shit is not real life. Excuse my language. I'm living in a matrix, bro. This is a simulation. Like, somebody gotta have my head strapped up with some wires or something. It ain't no way I just bought. I think it was $60, bro. I swear to God, it was $60.
It was $60.
I bought a $60 game, and it's treating it like I don't own the copy of the game. I was baffled, bro.
Because they said that the intention was they thought people were gonna mainly buy the digital copies of that game instead of the digital.
It's just like, what?
Because I played the beta and I had the digital copy day one, and I didn't run into the issue, but my homie had bought the disc and he ran into the issue, and then they I think somebody had made a Reddit post and they were like, yeah, it's because we didn't they originally intended for people to buy it digital, they didn't have the intentions of people mainly buying it on disc like people did. But,
and it's just
Tommy,
what?
Go
ahead, bro.
Tommy had tried to chime in and say something when you were talking.
Yeah, he harbors my equal hate for Shinobi.
Go ahead and let it out, Tommy. Let me hear it, man.
So yeah, I mean, when it comes to Shinobi Strikers, you know, like Wes said, expectations was through the roof because I have put at least 200 plus hours on Xenoverse 2. So I was thinking it was gonna be like Shinobi Strikers, and I guess that was my problem, where I would think some games would be like certain games because, you know, they got like a competition thing going on. Like if you would think back when you played Tenkaichi 3 and then you played Ninja Storm.
Yep.
It's kind of the way it looked and how they played in battle, it was almost the same thing. So like when you play Xenoverse 2 and then your Shinobi Strikers coming out, you're like, oh, okay, they're probably gonna do a Xenoverse type Naruto game where it might actually be better than Xenoverse 2. But then, you know, fast forward, the game comes out, and first of all, it wasn't really a lot to do over there.
Right? It was 4v4, bro. 4v4 and some. No. Remember when it came out and there was an error with the multiplayer, right? Because people weren't getting full matches, and the matches would suck. So everybody for like the first 2 or 3 weeks had to play that stupid virtual training. It's like a virtual story mode thing that you have to do, and it was giving you like the bare minimum EXP. It was like defend the gate and all that crap. It was like you had to fight Shikaku with it was just a lot, and he was teleporting across the map. And I was like, was this like your way of saying y'all wanted a story mode? Because this was definitely not it. Like this is terrible, bro.
All the story mode is such a disgrace. That is not a story mode. That's just a bundled up quest. You know what I mean? Like there was nothing like the moment you hop in on Shinobi Strikers with a new character, he just falls out from the sky. And then you're just in the middle of a village. There's like no cutscene. That's the only cutscene. There's no cutscene where it would even tell you that a story is being played. It feels like if I were to go on Honkai and log in and you'd be on the spaceship, there's a lot of options for you to do. Either do a mission, you either do gacha, you either go to options, events, and all that stuff. That's what it felt like to me. There was no story mode, and that threw me off. Not to mention that you couldn't even I I guess you could make a party, but like there was no guarantee that you could fight somebody else.
Exactly.
Like it was just it was all random, unless you had like a squad of 4, and it just didn't feel right. And then like while you were playing the game, you suddenly just get removed from the game. That's
get kicked out to the lobby.
Yeah, you get kicked out to the lobby, bro. That's not.
I remember there was a thing. It was a what? There was an ultimate jutsu on there that was disconnecting people. It was it was one of the Susanos. It's the one where he flies across the screen, and he was hitting people and causing people to get booted from the lobby because like it was so many pixels and frames and fragments coming out of the Susano. It was like literally crashing people's systems, bro. It was crazy.
Bro, remember, you couldn't even talk to NPCs in a lobby. Like if you were in a party, you could not talk to NPCs after you finished the mission. You would have to leave the party, disconnect from your because every time you left the party when the game came out, you would get disconnected from your lobby, dog. So I would have to leave the party, disconnect from my lobby, come back, find the NPC, talk to them, unlock a new quest, get back in the party. If the party worked, do the mission, come out, leave the party, get disconnected. Like it was a vicious cycle of garbage, bro. Straight garbage. The game is trash, and if you play it religiously and you think it's good, you need to be in a nut house. No cap. The game is awful. The game is awful.
Go ahead, Nico. You got something to add,
Nico? On that hill, that game is awful.
Oh, I don't have much to say, like at all. Like I'm more on the bandwagon of games coming out at the wrong time.
Oh, okay.
I mean, but it's like, I mean, that's just an example, like with Shinobi Strikers, which I don't want to talk too much about because it just.
It sounds like y'all got like some.
It leaves a very bad. It leaves a very bad taste in my mouth, which goes to saying, which goes to saying, it's like all these games that are coming out or have been coming out. It's like, I mean, like they're awful, but like you have no choice. If it looks at least a bit interesting, you gotta go in like a 50-50.
Yeah,
really. And that's kind of trash, because if there's a game that like it's like a little bit interesting, you'd have to accept that and then just buy the game and then hope that there's more stuff that might be coming in the future, or if you beat the game and then there's more content after that. But as of right now, it's a total bummer.
All I'm gonna say is that I had never been called a pessimist in my life until I played Shinobi Strikers, bro.
And it changed it created a new person.
That story, bro. Remember, I told y'all I made a Reddit post that got relatively big in the community, actively stating the issues and what's wrong with the game. And I don't care what nobody said, bro. Like, I did not care what anybody was saying, how they was defending it, until I came across a comment that dude was like, dude, you're such a pessimist, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, what is a pessimist? And then I looked that up. And when I tell you, it threw me on a tangent, bro. Like, I spiraled into deep hatred for that man, bro.
Character arc off of one sentence.
I was just like, I'm just like, pessimist? I'm speaking facts. What are you talking about? Like, I got angry with bro, to the point where like I kept going and he was not responding no more, and I didn't care. I was still going, bro.
You was like, still arguing with him. He done moved on. He had a regular life and everything, and he was still fighting this man.
Yeah, he put me out of my element, and it's like that's another reason why I don't get out of my element now. But it's like, how you gonna try and demean me for speaking facts? It'd be different if I was talking like from a place where I had not put hours and experienced this game for like the true garbage that it was. That would be different, but that's not the case. I played this game. I put hours into this game. I literally couldn't even play this game at launch because for whatever reason I decided that I wanted to buy a disc for this game because like I wanted the case in my room to see the manual. It like what's up? Games don't even come out with user manuals no more, bro. Like they just expect you to figure it out.
Or they throw it in your options, like, and it's like in the background. Like you got to go through like 3 different slides.
Yeah, or it's like a digital user manual. Like, why do you think I'm going to get on my PlayStation and boot up a freaking user
a QR
manual?
code?
Yeah, like, are you smoking crack, bro? Like, something got to be going on in these rooms, bro. Because like, who thinks that I'm going to look at a digital user manual? The only digital user manual I've ever looked at in my life was the one for Melty Blood on my PS4, because of the simple fact that it wasn't just only a user manual. It was a user manual / art book that talked about the history of the game and stuff like that. I was interested in that. I don't like a user manual, bro. What are you on? What are you on?
So
that's insanity to me.
I'm gonna segue into. Or a best way I can say this is, what can save gaming in your opinion? Like, what do you really believe can fix a lot of the gaming issues? Like, what would make you enjoy gaming like your childhood? You get me? Because like everybody likes to say, when people bring up like old classic games, like, oh, you're blinded by nostalgia, right? Prime example is like people say Kingdom Hearts 3 was like one of the worst games, but I don't understand that, because
I can name 100 games that came out in the past 2 years that are way in the gutter compared to Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, you can say it was a bad game because it didn't live up to your expectations of it being the third installment of a well-renowned franchise. Like, it was bad because the story sucked, but the game wasn't bad because the story sucked. Like, if a game is bad, the game is bad because the game is bad. The game ain't bad because you didn't like what happened in the story.
Right.
Like, a game will be bad because fundamentally there are things wrong with the game that makes it a unenjoyable experience for the consumer, and an unenjoyable experience for the people watching it. Like, that's what makes a game bad. And that's the thing, like, even if the community agrees that a game is bad, at the end of the day, it's still opinionated. Like, there is no fact, there is no truth. The person who made the game could come out and say, yeah, this game is bad, but there will be at least one person in this earth that will play that game and think, yeah, I like it. So by that logic, it already makes everything else null and void. Like, yeah, you think it's bad, the community agrees that they believe it's bad, but okay, yeah.
So back into it. So what? And if you could, all right, we'll limit it to this. If there's major things that you can change with like the gaming industry in general, like say you like supreme ruler of the world, right? And like you're specifically looking at the gaming industry, you put them all in a room. What would you say to these people in this room? And we'll start with Nico first. What would be your declaration to these people in this room?
You're gonna have to pass on me. There's too much to say.
no, that's the whole point. If there's a lot to say,
we gotta say it, because when I talk, this podcast can go as long as it need to. Shoot.
I mean, like,
think about your.
I know that I know that everybody is like okay with playing a half-finished game, but I just can't get behind it personally. I can't do it. Like, I grew up with games just being done. Yes, there were maybe a minor bug here and there, but they were finished, complete games.
Right.
That's what brings it for me. Like, that baseline, I can't stand we'll have this in a couple of months or whatnot. Yes, that keeps the game fresh depending on what side of the gaming spectrum it is in. Mm-hmm. But for the basis for me to have to, say, pick up Borderlands 3 and then be like, oh, BTW, we're dropping a battle royale just randomly, just here you go, bro. No one asked for it, but here you go. Like, it's just like unneeded shit. Like, my language, but like it's just unneeded. It's like unneeded stuff that is just added into the game besides what I guess the audience for whatever game is asking for.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Whether it be certain mechanics, whatnot. Borderlands 3 is just a prime example of just me just being pissed off.
You were
Everybody has
upset.
those games.
You were upset with Borderlands 3?
I was very upset with it.
It's crazy.
Played Borderlands 3 maybe 5 times, and I was like, all right, this is garbage, actual garbage. Because with Borderlands 2, there's a lot of replayability and changes that you could do, but there's only so much you can do with Borderlands 3. It just didn't. It felt like they were on a time limit when they were making the game, and the time limit was just ticking.
Yep.
And I was just
the
like,
fact that this was the first Borderlands game that had DLC and the DLCs didn't introduce any new classes is insane. Because Borderlands always has post-launch classes from however many is in the game at launch.
Right.
3 had no new classes. It was Moze, it was the Beastkeeper.
Amara.
Yeah, it was Amara, and then it was Zane or whatever. The specialist or the agent or whatever his name was. It was 4 classes.
Why you say Zane so aggressive? Like,
I mean,
Zane.
Zane. Yeah, those were the only 4 people. I played Moze at the start because she was the most overpowered, and that was before I knew she was overpowered. I was just like, oh, she blows stuff up. She got a mech. I like that. But like, how y'all? What's up? Like, y'all had a thing going. When we drop DLC, we gonna drop post-launch classes. It's no post-launch classes in Borderlands 3 whatsoever. And Tiny Tina's is coming out. Tiny Tina is stemming from one of the greatest DLCs of Borderlands of all time, and they already got like 6 or 7 classes at the base game. And we don't know how much DLC is going to be in it, but it's been said that Tiny Tina's will be a full-blown game. Like, it's not going to be like 20 hours or 30 hours. Like, it'll be a full standard, like, at least 40-hour story length game, and then there is in game and stuff they plan on getting into. Like all types of the traditional Borderlands experience. So like, I don't know why they fell off with it on 3, and I enjoyed 3 for what it was. I like 3 because I like looter shooters. That's probably one of my favorite genre of games for anything loot-based combat. But the story, awful. The story was awful. They're killing characters, like favorite characters. They're killing them just for dramatic effect or just to kill them. The main enemies, the main enemies of the campaign were not likable or respectable or could not get behind their ambitions at all whatsoever. Like it was just mid. The story was mid. I enjoyed the game for what it was, a loot-based game, but it was.
I think what you said, Nico already answered it. It felt like she said, it felt like it was on a time limit, and that also goes back to the answer we had in the earlier part of the segue, where it was corporates pushing on the gaming industry, because like you said, a lot of these games are passion projects or like things that like these developers really want to make and they're really invested. But you got these investors who, they see the money potential. They're knocking on the door every 2 weeks like, hey man, so what's the progress? When we gonna start making money? The love of what people were creating got overshadowed by, the corporate greed, like you said earlier. And so, like she said, the time limit, it felt like you were rushed. And I feel like the developers, even like, if you look at like any industry now, everything has to be fast. Everything has to be right here, right now. I need it as quick as possible. Looking like, even when you look at like the anime industry, right? Even anime, like you got Mappa over here, like to the point where dude is putting on Twitter, like, I finally got to go home after 3 days. Like what? Like, But that if there's money to be involved and there's a corporation over that, we're getting that money, then all the things that make things good, like the love behind it, the inspiration behind it, the drive for it to be something that the consumer will love, gets completely thrown out and abandoned for the sake of, can this make us money and how long is it gonna take?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think that is why indie development has like become a thing that people genuinely look forward to now, because back in the day, indie developers got overshadowed by AAA titles because of the fact that AAA titles were good back in the day. Now everything is a cash grab, or it's getting pushed out in an incomplete state. Now people look towards indie development because there are no corporations behind them. Yeah, it'll take them longer to get their game out, but when their game comes out, it's going to come out in the state that they want it to come out, and it's going to be a quality product that everybody in the company shipped like their stamp of approval. That's why indie development is like so good now. I think that the gaming industry could be saved if, like, truthfully, if in any given year, if at least 50% of the games that come out in that year are good, then the gaming industry can see a rise in, like, just, I guess, positivity, essentially. Like, we can start looking forward to games and stuff like that. Right now, for the past 4, 5, 6, however many years you want to say, depending on how you feel about the gaming industry, I say like, out of all the games that come out in a year, past 10 years, I feel about every game that has came out, I say like 40% of the games that come out in any given year, for me at least, for the past 6 years, 40% of those games are good. 40%. And you could even argue lower than that. You could say 30%.
Yeah, my boy. That's a very generous number. Because let's be real. Prime example. Prime example. The MMO genre, right? The MMO genre has had like a 90% failure rate, to the point where we literally have a big 3 for MMOs. It's Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft, and it used to be it was, what is it called? Guild Wars 2, right?
Yeah.
But I think now it's just Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft that are still just duking it out. I think Guild Wars kind of...
Yeah, I mean, Guild Wars 2 kind of... It fell off, but they still have a big community, and they just came out with an expansion, actually.
To the point where, like, if I think of, like, successful games over the last generation, like, it's sad, I gotta say, Final Fantasy 14 or A Realm Reborn or whatever, like, that probably has been the most successful game, and it's a game that was literally made almost when it came out when I was a senior in 2015. You get me? And that's sad, because I don't think any game has really topped it. Yeah, there's been great games, but this is the only game that is still, keeping everybody happy. Like, due to the point where, like, the last expansion that came out, I owned the copy of the expansion, but there were so many people playing the game, I couldn't play the game. Like, it was just that many people.
And, like, I agree with what you're saying. And the thing is, like, it wasn't even like that at the start.
Right.
Like, 1.0 of Final Fantasy 14 was awful. Like, Yoshi P had to, like, basically revamp the entire game after 1.0 came out, because, like, it just had so many issues and it just was not in a good state. But guess what? The community had to hold that L if they wanted their product to become better, and it did become better. It became the greatest MMO that I've seen in my lifetime, because I never wanted to actively experience World of Warcraft, and I didn't have any interest in it because I couldn't get behind the graphics. And some people say they can't get behind the anime-ish art style of
Final Fantasy.
What's the name? Final Fantasy 14. But at the end of the day, like, Final Fantasy 14 is a way better state than WoW is. Because of the fact that, like, their company is doing some fraudulent and some, like, not cash money things, and, like, the game has to suffer for that. People who play World of Warcraft and love World of Warcraft deserve to play a game that they like and not have it to be ruined by the company that owns the game or that makes the game. But, that's not the world we live in. Like I said, back in the day when we were playing on PlayStation 2 and Wii and stuff like that, and there was no online gaming really, and there wasn't any, companies and games. It was like the only co-op you had was couch co-op, or, your homie coming over, having a controller, and then y'all duke it out type stuff. That's when games used to be good, because, people came out with games that they liked and that everybody in the company liked. And when you got that game, if there was great game breaking bugs or whatever like that, like, oh well. But most of the game breaking bugs in these games back in the day, like, the game was still playable, even if it did have like something that was game breaking, something that would cause you to hard reset or crash like that. Like, every game that I played with the intention of beating, I could beat, even if I experienced issues, right? So it's like, back in the day, people just used to love this stuff. So like, I think I'll, wrap up my point. I think that if we could get to a state in the gaming industry where at least half of the games that come out in any given year are good, then life will be great, right? Like, it won't be as good as it used to be, but it'll be on a way better path. And a lot, like, than what it is. Like, and a lot of these games that like people are charging $20, $30, $40 for, like, just start making more games free. Like, you can make a good free game and have a good monetization model. Like, a lot of these games came out that were garbage because everybody wants to be Destiny 2 with this games as a service model. Like Godfall, I was so hyped for Godfall. It was supposed to be a new, installment.
They gave that mug for free, and I still don't want that game. That game is trash, bro.
It was supposed to be a looter slasher. You had a shield, you got multiple weapon types, legendary weapons, all type of stuff. And I played it even though I actively knew it was garbage. But the game came out in a more playable state than Elden Ring, believe it or not. But like, the game just had issues. The end game loop was trash. You can beat
the game
inventory.
You can literally beat the game in under 4 hours.
Yeah, because the story of that game is not. That's not the reason you should be playing it. It's the tower and it's the bosses and stuff like that. But like, it had a lot of things at launch and it just never recovered because it just wasn't good, man. I mean, and that hurt me because I was really looking forward to that game because I like loot-based games. Same thing for Avengers. Avengers is the biggest letdown that I've had in like the past 4 years, man, because it's like, how do you have an IP like the Avengers and you say we're gonna take the Avengers, put it in a loot-based game, and we're going to give you the ability to play as your favorite heroes and your favorite costumes from comic books and things like that. And the game comes out, it's only 5 players or 5 characters, and the PC version of the game at launch, garbage. Not enough content, which is garbage. The fact that like you could have gotten costumes for free in the beginning of the game and then somehow that system broke and they just never brought it back. You used to be able to buy costumes out of the shops. They took that system out, never brought it back. And then it's like, okay, I understand that the game is in this state because COVID and, y'all had to do at home working on the game and it took a hit. But then you finally get back to the studio and nothing changes. When a new character comes out that people are really interested in, aka Spider-Man, he's a PlayStation exclusive. And like, that sucks. And, you got to hold that. But it's like, y'all keep showing these roadmaps or y'all keep talking about stuff is coming. Where is this stuff at, man?
You're gonna pay for it in DLC after you.
That's the thing. There is no DLC in Avengers. That's the thing.
It'll be there. Or you're gonna pay for Avengers. Avengers 2.
No, I'm about to say the only thing you had to pay for in Avengers is the costumes. Every character and every expansion that comes out is free. But it's like, okay, it's free, but the model is that like where is it at? It's awesome that it's free. I'm glad, I could be in the state of my life where I can't pay for that stuff. But it's like, it's not coming out. It's taking y'all forever to drop these characters. And it's like, nobody cares anymore. Like, I just checked their page today and they're dropping the new Iron Man suit from the Nothing to Fear comic line. And like, that's awesome. But can I get a new character, bro? Like, I went to Wakanda and, the Wakandan shaman was talking about Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch. Where are they at? Where are the X-Men? Like, anybody, can I get somebody, bro? Like, it's just Hulk, Black Widow, Thor, Captain America, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, Black Panther. Like, I mean, those are cool, but like,
where's the other like
Iron Man? Iron Man is in there too. But it's like, do you know how many people have been in the Avengers at any given point in time? Like, you got the Secret Avengers, you got Norman Osborn's Avengers. Like, there's all types of people that have been a part of this group, and where are they at? I want some more characters, and the loot system in that game was garbage too. They had to revamp that. There is no real good end game. There's no good place to grind for good loot. Like, I was heavily cheating and modding on that game via cheat engine and giving myself the loot that I wanted because there's no good active grind for it. Like, it was just garbage. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I never thought that I would boot up a trainer in Marvel Avengers, but like, you know, breaking the game is the most fun part about it because the game in the state was just like not cool, and y'all have the Avengers IP.
It's because you by breaking the game, you're able to see what the true potential of the game could have been. That's the sad reality of it. And that's I think that's why, like, now I can understand why people, like, as a person who never used to like mod games or use cheats and stuff like that or hack, I used to always look down on it, but like, dude, like, leave the game as it is. Like, if you can't be good enough to play the game as it is, then stop touching stuff in the game. But then as I got older and I started realizing, like, a lot of these modders were adding stuff that, like, the game already had in the files. It's just we weren't given access to. And a lot of these mods were, like, adding characters to the game that should have been there to begin with. And it's just like, I started realizing why we have modders and hackers and all these people that rip these games apart and they add stuff to it and they add tweaks and changes. And I'm like, this is just, they're just showing you what the potential of this game could be if people actually gave any type of semblance of a care about what they were making, instead of just trying to get something out that's gonna pass and get you a gold standard plaque on the cover for some reason. Like, why do we even have that? The freak does gold edition even mean? But, you know, like, what was the point of that? You know, and it just turns into this little cycle of, you had to break a game. You had to break the game just to enjoy the game, because the base of the game was not satisfying, because you didn't feel any of the passion, you didn't feel any of the love. All the characters that you saw in that game is the characters that you wanted to see from your comic books that you grew up reading, from the movies that you watched. And you got a game with a roster of 12 people, when there is, like, even in the little stupid Avengers cartoon that used to be on Cartoon Network, and even that little cartoon showed at least 50-60 people, each doing like different things. I get a game, there's 12, you know?
Yeah, and at launch, bro, about to say, bro, at launch it was 5 people. It was Iron Man, Black Widow, Hulk, who else? Iron Man, Black Widow, Hulk, Thor, Captain America. Those were the 5. And it's like, y'all only got one female here? Like, it's like 20 in the Avengers, my boy. Like, Black Widow not the only one. It was going off of, which is crazy to me, bro, because they literally said that they were not going to piggyback off of the MCU. It was going to be its own original story, yet here you go with the MCU starting 5. And you doing all these MCU costumes. The default characters. You got the MCU starting 5 in here, bruh. And you talking about we're not going to piggyback off of that because it's going to be its own original experience. Yeah, we'll put costumes from the MCU because we know that people like this, and, like, you know, they're going to be able to enjoy this game because, like, they like the MCU and everybody's a Marvel fan now. Like, you know, they were going to take advantage of the MCU fans, like, to get them to enjoy the game. But, like, they said it was going to have an original story. And, like, the story was cool, but it was ass. Excuse my French, truly, but it was garbage. And the characters that they had in the game, at base, like, y'all should have at least 8, bro. At least 8 or 9. Like,
but it goes back to what we said 3 times, bro. It's a corporation thing, bro. That game was just a corporate product, bro. And I'm
not gonna lie, bro. I don't even. It probably had some corporation behind it because, you know, Square Enix and it's Marvel, but at the same time, like, corporation or not, they used the pandemic as an excuse as to why the development of the game was so shoddy. And it's like, all right, okay, everybody, when 2020 first started, everybody was talking about how their game wasn't really this or that because, you know, pandemic. excuse me, we at home, it's, we can't really get out and do what we want to do. Okay, I understand that. I get you. I understand. But like, bro, come on, man. Like, you can't use that pandemic excuse forever, please. There's gotta be something, man.
Especially when I went to college to learn game development and game programming and all that stuff. A lot of the people in the game industry are able to work from home, and they're able to a lot of them have dual monitors or multiple computers. So you're telling me y'all couldn't pay for a Skype server for your 30 members of staff to sit there, and you all sit there and do the programming and stuff like that, and if you needed to single-handedly talk to your department, put them in a separate group call and get that done. Like, I feel like when you're dealing with like programming and game design and stuff like that whole you're already social distancing. You get me? Like, what changed for you that you just suddenly couldn't put the same level of effort into the product? Like, if anything, I would have worked better knowing I didn't have to get up and drive, because I'm already gonna work at home anyway.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I also wanted to get Tomby's input on that question we asked earlier. Tomby, if you here, bro?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. So, if you had a chance to tell the gaming industry anything, what is Tomby saying to the gaming industry that's gonna fix it? Not the sigh. That boy had that sigh like he about to go in, bro.
I won't. First and foremost, content that's supposedly DLC should not be DLC.
Facts.
It should already be in the game in the first place. I'm not gonna get too into it because it mainly has to do with Shinobi Strikers. So I guess we all know Dragon Ball Z gets a pass because we've seen this story all the time, and then like they actually do add the characters in there. Right. But for some reason, when it comes to Naruto, and I guess specifically Naruto, you'll notice when you do play Strikers, not everybody is in the game, and I wanted to curse right there, but like that right there was like, it kind of tipped me off, because you had Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, but then you also had Boruto, Sarada, and Mitsuki, right?
Right.
All the other characters that were on like Storm 4, they weren't there. It was only like 8 people on the roster, and then everyone that was supposed to be in the game was DLC. Which means it was, like you said, it was like a cash grab type of thing.
Yeah.
So I just need them to stop doing that, so that way others can actually enjoy the game without having to pay. Because I think we already paid $60. $60 should come with all the characters.
Exactly.
And then like, if there's any DLC, it should be, I guess, like, I'm not really sure at that case, because literally, as we were all watching the show, we've seen all these characters out, and then when the game comes out, there's no characters.
You get only 8 characters. You started off with 8, and then there's only 8
characters.
Your DLC packs for $30, and your $30 pack got you, I think they gave you 6 characters every season.
6
characters, exactly 6 single-digit numbers.
Yeah, you so $30. There was how many seasons did they do? So I know that this is season 4, right? So you paid 4 times. So you paid almost $180 basically. So 30 times 4 is $120 plus your $60 base game. Yeah, you paid almost $180 for about 30 to 40 characters
that were supposed to be in the game already.
And their falls, and leakers, we all knew what characters were gonna come out, because all it took was a guy who leaked it on day 1, and he was able to see every character and every move set and everything that was gonna be in the game.
Right. Like there's at no point that I should be waiting to play Madara or the first Hokage when the game came out like 2 months ago at that point.
He's in the loading screens. Madara was literally in the loading screens. He was in the loading screens, and you couldn't play him. It was like,
that was so trash to me. That was also one of the reasons why I just didn't want to play it. But another one would be, I guess, and this is kind of going on the Dragon Ball Z route. If we're dropping a new game, please do not recycle the story.
facts.
If you're recycling the story over and over and over and over, what makes you think I'm going to buy that?
What was the last one that they tried to get away with that? Was it Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, right? And I was like, oh, this game finna go crazy. And I loaded it, and it started me off in the same spot. I said, I'm not about to fight Frieza again. I'm not about to fight Frieza again, bro. I'm tired of this, bro.
Freaking Budokai 2, 3, Tenkaichi 2, 3, Burst Limit. Every other joint, it starts off as when before Goku was a Super Saiyan and when Raditz came through. I don't need that, bro. Give me some
too many times, bro.
Yeah, bro, like give me some GT content. Give me some, start at like the GT content, start at like Super or whatever. Like give me some of that. Like I don't wanna recycle it. If you got flashbacks, that's totally okay, but like
don't make me play the game over and over and over and over and over again.
That's literally what I did. I played the game over and over in different style.
Just so you can press the combat buttons that are the same, because every time it was square to punch, triangle to kick. It was the same bullcrap for.
You hold L2 or R2, you press triangle, you get a Kamehameha wave.
And then they finessed you. They finessed you to play Xenoverse 1 and 2, and the whole concept of Xenoverse 1 and 2 was that you play through all the events of Dragon Ball. It's just you have a character there. It's still the same thing.
It's the same thing, but at that point, it was because I had the character, it made it unique, so I gave him a pass when it did come out. And I'm okay with that. Like, they flipped the script a little bit.
Right.
But, like, as the fact, it's just like, stop doing that, bro. Like, we all know, like, the story and all that stuff. Like, if we know the story, there's no point you should be putting it in the game, like, let's put like some twist on that.
Yeah.
So that's my piece.
Any closing statements anybody want to make?
I mean, I basically said everything I wanted to say, to be quite honest.
Long story short, I guess they just gotta up it up and be more creative with all this stuff, because it's really unacceptable that the gaming industry was in a drought for that long, and that like they really couldn't come up with anything. They just had to recycle, especially with the BR route. It wasn't looking too good, especially with the MMO route. Wasn't looking too good. Fighting games wasn't really coming out like that.
And the ones that were coming out were like not hidden, honestly. Like Street Fighter 5 is an awful game, but that's a discussion for another day. I mean, awful in the sense that it's awful to me, but you know, everybody has their own opinion.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, gosh, it is what it is, but at the same time, it's not what it is, bro. Like, y'all gotta come up with some new things. Like, if fighting games were definitely coming out and were actually like promoted in a good way, where like you would actually see it, like you see ads and stuff, maybe it'll be different, because that's exactly what everybody was missing within that whole drought. Everybody was trying to hit that MMO BR route, and it's like there's too many of them. Why are you trying to compete with each other? Do something creative.
Right.
And then so really that's, you know, that, and then that whole DLC thing, you know what I mean, to a minimum.
Yeah.
Like, or like make it so like the DLC actually matters, where we don't have to go like this in order to be in the game, and then I guess, and then create, and then at the same time creativity, because at the same time, like, bro, it's so bland, bro. It's been like we got like a handful of
That's
years
it.
where
That's
it's
the
just been
best.
like
That's
blank.
that's the best way you can describe the gaming industry right now. It's just bland,
Oh
bro.
boy.
It's just food with no seasoning, bro. It's just there.
Food with no seasoning, bro.
Mm.
Like the gaming industry got white hands on it.
Oh,
Shit doesn't even cook. It is not even
Got
cooked,
white hands
bro.
on it. No,
Oh,
no
no.
sisters on the grill. None of that. It's just straight white hand in that joint. It's dry hands, no lotion. You know what I mean? Like that's what the
No
gaming
lotion.
industry is right now. Bro.
I mean, to be honest, like it's not hitting, bro.
It's not hitting,
It's
bro.
not,
So, I
bro.
mean,
Not no more. It used to hit. Not no more, bro.
Every time.
But do we do the okay? So I'm gonna ask this: can it be saved though? Can it be
Yeah,
saved?
I mean, I stated, I said that if we start going on the trend where half of the games that come out in any given year is good, then the gaming industry can't be saved. It'll take a while before we get there, but high hopes, low expectations for 2022. Right now, all the games that have came out that I have been looking forward to have done me justice so far. I mean, I was even looking forward to Elden Ring, and outside of the optimization on PC, I do enjoy the game. So,
Mm.
you know, I think it can be saved if we keep on with that trend.
yeah, for sure, it could definitely be saved. Like in these 3 months have been pretty good, and I hope they keep it up. Honestly, but
Yeah.
yeah, to say it cannot be saved is kind of wild. Because, hope for the best, expect the worst. But, right now I'm expecting the best. And then, so I just hope it stays that way throughout the rest of the month or year.
What about you, Nico?
I mean, I'm pretty much kind of on the same bandwagon. Besides, like, I wish there wasn't so many games that got like really overshadowed. Like, say, like Bleeding Edge, like it came out the same time as another game I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And it just like when games come out one by one, like right next to each other, and say like a good concept for the other game happens and whatnot, it's like a good concept, and then it gets overshadowed because there's a bigger brand in front of it. It kind of irks me a little bit because there's a lot of like potential for Bleeding Edge. Like it was a beautifully made game. It's just the fact that it just happened to get kind of cold shoulder because I don't know what came out at the time. Was it Doom Eternal? I don't remember. I love Doom Eternal. I won't ever knock Doom. But,
oh, we can't because
just like,
Doom was a remake that did it right. We can't even say nothing bad about Doom.
Exactly. I love Doom Eternal, but it's just sometimes when certain games come out, it just come out at the wrong time.
Yep.
Another good example is what was it? Gigantic. They had to stop production on that completely.
Yeah, because it was getting over it. And the sad part is Gigantic was actually, they said it did everything right compared to
at the wrong
all
time.
the thing, but Overwatch and what was the other one? Overwatch and there's another one that it's a hero shooter.
Overwatch. I don't know if it was it Valorant? No.
No, it's like it looks like a MOBA, but it's not. It's freaking
Phantasy Star?
Nah.
No.
I'll end up finding it and putting it in the podcast so people can see it. But
I don't remember.
It's like they ended up turning it into a battle royale too.
Hell
it
no.
looks like
it
kind of runs like Smite. It runs like Smite, but it's not Smite. It's man. You see how sad that is though? We can't even
my brain is thinking the only thing my brain is thinking of is that other League like game.
Oh, Paladins. It was Paladins. Paladins killed Paladins and Overwatch killed Gigantic. And they said that Gigantic actually had what it was gonna take to actually be like a really good competitive hero shooter. But then again, Gigantic also got the same fate that what was the other one that came out? What, Battle Right or something like that?
Yeah, it was like a slew or Battleborn, I think.
Battleborn, yeah, Battleborn got
Yeah.
the same treatment, bro. And it's just sad because Blizzard did the big man syndrome and killed 2 games that were, ahead of their time in an aspect. Because now people are creating servers to try to just play those games, in private servers, just trying to play the game because people saw the potential of those games. Then there was another one. There's one that died, but they're bringing it back. It's gonna go under a different name though, but it was a 3D MOBA. I forgot what it was called, but it just sucks, man. Like you said, it's just bad timing, horrible timing.
Yeah, it's real rough. It's because you see the potential of the game. You're like, dang, this is fun. This is nice. It's like a refresher, and then you just see the game kind of fade out. Like, I know that all games have its due time, but it's just kind of sad to see some games don't even get a chance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have to put hella respect on indie creators and all that jazz, because to be able to kind of fend yourself against corporate companies is pretty massive.
Right.
Names like Scott Pilgrim. I don't remember the guy who made Undertale. They are memorable people in the indie community. And they can stand their own.
His last name's like Fox or something like that. Something Fox.
Yeah.
I get what you mean.
It's just, but yeah, or Hades. Hades is a good one too.
Yeah. Hades is a good game.
Yeah. It just when you see regular corporate stuff and it fall apart, and you're like, dang, that's crazy. And we have all these indie creators that live up to that industry standard. Mm-hmm. And you just see it just dwindle out. It just hurts. It hurts in a weird way.
All that love and effort that these people put into these games that they know are gonna make people, these passion projects, they just get stamped out because money talks, and it talks the loudest in the room. It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Passion and love and inspiration don't speak as loud as a dude slapping $100 bills in your face. It just sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, you're not wrong.
Not wrong.
Any other statements y'all want to make?
Mm-mm.
Nah, you basically, I said my piece. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I had in my chest.
I think honestly, for the first podcast, first of all, I enjoyed this entire conversation, and you know what? Episode 2 is gonna go crazy because we're not just gonna be talking about gaming. We're gonna start going into some other subjects that we all are really good at. But thank you guys for joining the 2G1A podcast, man. Don't forget to like it up, subscribe, share it, reach out. And if you want to know more about the 2G1A staff, we're gonna put all their socials on the screen, and you guys can also find our links in the description. With me tonight, I had 2G1A Tombi, West, Nico, and myself, Kites. Even though there's plenty more of us, so you're gonna see different types of characters popping in and out. And we want to thank you guys. Feel free to join the Discord, check out our merch and everything else. Have a great one.
Oh, did you already cut it off?
No, it's still going.
Okay. All I'm gonna say is everybody, thanks for checking out Life Lessons and Blessings, LLB for short. With this podcast, we talk about life. You may learn a few lessons along the way, and if you build like that, then you might catch a blessing or two. So stay up, be easy. Come check us out next time.